It feels like such a special team, special event when the Celtics are playing that it's like an honor to watch. The Bruins have not been that. I have to watch every Bruins game anyway because I just have to. It's me. It's who I am. But they come back from this bad road trip. The Bruins do. The Bruins come back from this terrible road trip out west with Utah and Colorado and Nashville, which comes back east a little bit. And it was bad. They go 1-2 on the trip. Their last two games were really, really brutal. They get shut out 4-0 by a team that had not won a game in Nashville. And Jim Montgomery is out there undressing his captain on the bench. Not what it sounds like, Mike. He's yelling at his captain on the bench. And he got some heat for that. I don't think he deserved to get heat for that. I mean, I don't mind Jim Montgomery calling out his captain when there's efforts like that out there on the ice. And we talked with Matt Barry yesterday of the Bruins Benders podcast of like, this looks like a guy who's coaching for his job. And he is, man. He's in the last year of his contract. He has obviously this gaudy winning percentage in the regular season, but the team has regressed under him. They had the greatest regular season in history in his first year. They lost in the first round. Then they won a playoff series last year, kind of amazingly, and lost to the Panthers again. And right now, they barely look like a playoff team with this roster and this forward group. Like, they're really going to have to battle to get into the playoffs. And I don't know that they'll be a home ice team the way they have been in the past. And you have that first round matchup with Toronto. How much can the mental game win it for you at this point? You really shouldn't have won the series last year. And now Toronto's a better team. And we're going to see him tomorrow night at I think it's in Boston, hockey night in Canada, all that. It's going to be a big deal like it always is, Saturday night hockey between these two teams. And it's a chance for Toronto to really kind of prove something early in the season because they think they're a better team than the Bruins, but it's that mental hurdle. On the flip side, if the Bruins can go out and beat Toronto like 4-1 tomorrow night, that should get the ball rolling on some things. But right now, they just do not look like a playoff team, and at times they barely look like an NHL team. Their forward talent barely looks like NHL. And again, we saw the line mixing up. I mean, I keep seeing that line of Coyle, Max Jones, Trent Frederick, and I'm like, what is that going to give you? How is that a tough line to play against when they can't generate anything on offense or anything 5-on-5? You have guys that cannot carry the puck into the zone. And I'm sitting there having a freaking ulcer last night because I see Justin Brazeau is on the power play for this team. Justin Brazeau really isn't even an NHL player. And he's out there on the power play for a team that a year and a half ago set the all-time single seasons wins record. And here's where we're at now. Not all that long ago. Of course, Brazeau made me look stupid. He scored a power play goal. But the point remains that is not where the Bruins need to be from a personnel standpoint. And later on in the game, they pull the goalie down 2 goals with 3 minutes left, and they've got Parker Wotherspoon out there on a 6-on-5 situation. I'm like, seriously, that's the best we've got? When we are trailing 2 goals, we're chasing a couple of goals, we've pulled the goalie, and Parker Wotherspoon is one of the guys out there on the ice? Oh, man, that's not good. And part of it is you have to pull the goalie with 4 minutes left. So, I mean, how long can you keep your guys out there? But, yeah, and they were one of the best penalty-killing units in the league the last couple of years. That has not been that sharp, and it doesn't help that they take a ton of penalties, a ton. Marchand took 2 last night. Pastrnak took 2 last night. And Dallas scored 3 power play goals, 3 of 5 on the power play. You're facing one of the best teams in the league. You can't keep giving them that many chances. And it's stupid penalties, too. I mean, how many penalties did they get in the offensive zone this year? And I think it is time we talk about Brad Marchand. I'm wearing the Marchand jersey just for something, some kind of good luck.
Can you stand up? Because people can't see that jersey. Just stand up for a second. I was very impressed by that jersey. Like, I know it's a common thing for you, but that is a beautiful jersey. I'm just saying.
When this jersey came out, I had to have it, Mike.
I can see that.
So it was a Bruins alternate for like 8 years, but the original was gold with the black thing here
Yeah, I got you.
And it was like lost media for years. The Bruins wanted to ignore it so bad. They thought it was a terrible logo. The Pooh Bear logo is what they call
It's
it.
not a Pooh Bear. That's a Bruin.
And no spoke bee at all on it.
Eh.
And they ignored it like the plague for years, man. And the NHL started doing this reverse retro thing where you kind of take a retro look of the team, but you switch it up a little bit. So it's not a straight up retro jersey. So instead of doing gold, they did white.
So it's like the Bruins when you showed either earlier in the week or last week, right? The new jersey that they redid.
The Centennial jersey.
Oh, that's
that
a Centennial jersey.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I get lost in jersey talk.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot now with the NHL, which I love because I love hockey jerseys. But when this came out, I said, I don't care the price. I've got to have it. And I was really angry because it does not have the alternate captain's A on it, which it should for Brad Marchand at that year. Now he's, of course, the captain. And I think it is time we talk about Brad Marchand a little bit. The guy is 36 years old, and he has 6 goals in his last, 40 games or something? I've got the stat here. As you can tell, as you can really tell, I'll give the credit to the guy who put it out there.
I don't know anything about hockey, but I'm thinking 6 and 40 is probably not great.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not, Mike, as a matter of fact. But where is this? Where is this
hard
tweet
to find
I found?
Is his goals over 40
my
games.
Gosh. I thought I bookmarked it. I must have only liked it.
Oh.
Or
can we talk about
it was deleted? I don't know.
Can we talk about the Bears' pupils, though?
Why?
They're just white.
Okay. Van Allen is the guy who put it out. Including playoffs, he has 6 goals in his last 44 games.
Yeesh.
He's 36 years old, and he has 6 goals in his last 44 games. 2 of those came in that game 3 against Toronto, where he scored the snipe that put them back up, and then he scored the empty netter. And that's a third of the goals right there in one of the games. And he scored again the next night, by the way. So what is he giving you? He's turning the puck over. That's leading to goals. That's what got him chewed out by his coach, Jim Montgomery. Montgomery's out there blasting him for turning the puck over. He's taking penalties, took 2 more penalties against Dallas on Thursday, and he's not giving you anything offensively. He's not giving you anything on the power play. He's dealing with a ton of injuries. He had 3 surgeries in the offseason. He's 36. Like, when is that going to be turned around? Are you just banking on Brad Marchand to just wake up one day in the middle of the season and become a 30-goal guy again? I don't think that's happening. In fact, it might not happen the rest of his career. And, that's understandable. The guy's 36. And I will say, I have a ton of respect for Brad Marchand's career because he went from just kind of a hustle guy, second, third line, penalty killer, gritty fan favorite to being a real, legit, skilled 30, 40 goal guy and a legitimate source for your offense. And he really turned his career around doing that. But it might just be time. He's 36. And the numbers have not been kind to him the last few years. He's 5'9" at about 180 pounds and dealing with all these injuries. It's like he can't play the same way anymore. In fact, you look at the points the last couple of years and to see where he's at, he was only at 27 points. Excuse me. That was plus minus. 67 points the last 2 years, which is still good. Don't get me wrong, but he's going down from 80, 87, 100, 85. That's what he was. In the middle of his career, he was an 80-plus point a year guy. And now it's all going down. Big time. And his penalty minutes have gone down, which some people don't like. I think I'm okay with that. He has not scored a goal this year. He's got 4 assists. He's -4. He's already taken 12 minutes worth of penalties in those games, and he's given the puck away 6 times. That's just what we've recorded in 8 games. 6 giveaways, 12 penalty minutes. He's a guy who is not affecting the game in any way this year for the Bruins. And it really stinks because, again, I don't think it's the lack of trying. I think he's a guy who is 36, coming off 3 surgeries, and he's expected to be the second best player on the team. And he's not that, or the second best forward anyway. He's not that. And Pastrnak is, again, committing lazy penalties. This team, it's bad enough that most of their forwards just stink and are not NHL level, but then the guys that you're really counting on are giving you absolutely nothing. And I thought Andy Brickley made a really good point the other night, in the few times that he's allowed to criticize the Bruins on the Bruins broadcast. But he was talking about Morgan Geekie, and Geekie was a healthy scratch against Colorado, played against Utah, and didn't do anything. And Brickley in the third quarter, Brickley in the third period was like, what about this guy, these guys who are just coming off healthy scratches? The coach told them it's not your night. And those guys, when they come back, they should be one of the most effective players on the ice. They should be winning every battle. They should be throwing shots on net. They should be showing you a real effort. And he's like, I look up in the third period, and Morgan Geekie does not have a shot on goal tonight. And he was up watching on the ninth floor in the last game. Like, it's like you won't play the kids in Providence because you don't think they're good enough, or you don't want to unseat a veteran. But the veterans aren't giving you great effort here, and they're giving you no production. And this team, after to go off that same point that Brickley made, this team is coming off 2 bad losses on the road. You come back home, you're facing one of the best teams in the league. You should be up for it, home crowd, and it was the same crap. It was lazy play. It was not clearing the zone. It was taking stupid penalties and letting them convert on the power play. And by the way, Swayman has not been that great either. He's not been at the top of the list of what's wrong with this team, but he has not been great. That first goal, that Duchesne goal, he had no idea where the puck was. Duchesne beats him from the dot short side because Swayman does not know where the puck is. And he's just tracking that pass over to Duchesne as Duchesne is throwing it into the net. So it's just a bad deal right now. And we could be on borrowed time for Jim Montgomery. And I don't think it's necessarily all his fault, but I've never loved his strategy. I was willing to look the other way when they were setting the all-time wins record, but I never loved his strategy. And Dafumi, my guy Dafumi on Twitter, points out that Pat Burns was 3-4-1 when he got fired on October 25th in the year 2000. The Bruins are 3-4-1 on October 25th. Just saying. He's saying, not saying he deserves it, but they have to decide one way or the other soon, or it's not going to matter. Patrice Bergeron, once again, gave the echo that we heard a couple weeks ago. American Thanksgiving, that's where you see where your team's at. And realistically, it's like, if you're not in a playoff spot by that point, you're probably not going to the playoffs. That's just what the NHL has shown the last 10, 12 years. And they got to worry about that. That's a month away here. And they're not looking like a playoff team at all. But yeah, I mean, part of this comes on your GM too. We talked about this with Matt Barry yesterday. You're talking about the last couple of years, Tyler Bertuzzi, Jake DeBrusk, Foligno, like these guys who can play up and down the lineup, specifically at winger, and can give you something, can give you 20, 25 goals, can give you actual offensive output. You can play him on a power play. Taylor Hall, Tyler Bertuzzi. You look at those guys, Jake DeBrusk, and you didn't replace any of them. You want to let him walk because it's shrewd business? Go ahead, let him walk. But to have no replacement at all, that shows bad mismanagement in the front office. And it's not just one example. And Sweeney's probably done more good than bad, but he has not handled free agency well over his time with the Bruins. And he's went out and put his balls out on the table to get some of these guys at the trade deadline for first-round picks, then lets them walk and can't get anything in return. So now you've got guys for half seasons. Okay, I'm okay with that, Dom. We want to make a push for this thing. Let's do it. You go out, you get these guys for half the season, you peace out in the second round, and then you let them walk and get nothing in return. So basically you've given up first-round picks for nothing, for second-round exits. And now, no wonder you have nobody from Providence that you can put up and put on the second or third line because you've given up all these first-round picks. And you got nothing in return because you let these guys walk. And you mismanage the cap with other guys. So then you have to let them walk in the case of a guy like Taylor Hall. That's the problem with the Bruins right now. And it might end up being the coach's job. And And think of what you will about that. It's going to come down on the coach, and it's going to come down on the captain, and they don't have clean hands here either. But you got to look at that front office first and foremost.